Well, holy smokers, this ain't no jokers. Check out USO here today, guys. Oh my goodness, USO is hot on top of hot. Look at it, okay? It's over 20 bucks. It's now over $21, trading at $21.54 here today, up another 9.5%, $1.87 in the positive move. This is massive, okay? I've been very fortunate. I got in USO almost at the exact bottom, and so far we are doing very, very well on USO. We're up about $2,941 as of right now, up 26.5%, and I'm just thinking, why didn't I put more money in it? Remember I made that video about I might put 100K in USO? Well, and then I only put like 11,000 or whatever, and now I'm looking at this and I'm regretting it. I'm like, why didn't I put more? Because think about it, if I would have put, you know, let's say $100,000 in this, being up 26%, that would mean I had a $26,000 gain. 26,000, like I could sell out today with $26,000 if I put 100K in it instead of 11K. And take into account, like I bought this a week ago. I bought this on April 28th. It's May 5th today. Imagine that I could have just made $26,000 in a matter of 1 week. I mean, absolutely extraordinary. But hey, you know what? I can't complain. You know, obviously I took way less risk in it, and you know, we're still doing great. I mean, up almost $3,000 as of right now. I shouldn't really complain. It's just, you know, when you think about putting a certain number in something and then it goes up a ton, and you didn't put that number in it, obviously in a situation like that, it's like, oh, why did I put more? So we're going to talk about USO here today. I want to talk about two things in specific, okay? One is, what is going great for USO right now? There's something very specific we got to talk about that is going very well for USO right now. The second thing we got to talk about is, will oil prices keep going higher? There's so much debate on what's going on with the price of oil. Is it going to, you know, drop again? Is it likely to continue to climb throughout summer? What is going on there? So we'll talk about the realistic possibilities. Now, last time I came out with a USO video, it got 8,200 thumbs up. That's going to be a very hard number for us to beat in this video, but I think we have a shot, guys. I think we have a shot. Let's beat 8,200 thumbs up by tonight. I think we can do it, okay? All right, guys, let's start getting into this. And by the way, leave me a comment on what your opinion is on USO down in that comment section, or just oil prices in general. I'd love to hear from you guys, okay? So just for the, you know, a few people that are probably watching this video, like, what the heck is a USO? Is that an oil stock? What exactly it is? I know a lot of you guys probably know what USO is by now. Some people don't. Real simple, okay? They buy oil futures contracts. It's an ETF. They buy oil futures contracts, and they basically try to track the price of oil. So if oil goes up, you know, a certain percentage, hopefully USO goes up just as much. But on the flip side, if oil prices go down a bunch, something like USO would get hurt severely, okay? So basically, they're trying their best to track the price of oil. Oil goes up, this goes up. Oil goes down, this goes down, okay? That's basically what USO does, okay? Now, USO had been in a very tough spot. This is a 3-month chart for USO. And on a split adjusted basis, USO went from $90 plus to, you know, it was trading at the lows at like $16.88, okay? That's where it was trading at the lows, a little under 17 bucks. And that's in a 3-month span. That chart is ugly on ugly. I mean, that's extraordinary, right? And a lot of people got tore up in USO during that time. A lot of people had got into it 1 month ago, 2 months ago, and some 3 months ago, and they just got shredded. Like, simply, like they lost a lot of money. And it wasn't just like retail investors. There was a lot of institutions in USO, and as oil just continued to drop and drop and drop, people just got, you know, completely destroyed in USO up until very recently. And I'm fortunate. I got in at literally almost absolute lows. The lows it hit was like, you know, just under 17 bucks, 16.88. And our cost basis is on a split adjusted basis is $17.04. So I gotta say, I'm very fortunate. I wish I could say I'm the smartest genius in the world, but believe me, there's very few times that I get stocks or a commodity related thing like this, obviously, and I don't play commodities that often, but it's very rare I get, you know, almost at the bottom. I can just tell you guys that, okay? I wish this happened all the time, but for every one of these scenarios where I get it like right at the bottom, there's 10 scenarios where I don't get it at the bottom. So usually when I go into something, I usually plan on it going down more. I'm like, I buy in today, over the next few days, few weeks, or maybe a few months, it's probably going to go down more. I'll get to buy more at a cheaper price. Obviously with USO, it's just been up and away, and it is what it is, okay? But what basically happened that's so massive for USO, and people just didn't even pay attention to this. They just brushed it off. Like, it was like nothing. And I'm like, there was a massive change that happened the day before I bought in USO, April 27th. A massive change was announced, okay? Basically, the change was, before, they used to just own a ton of contracts in the upcoming month and then that following month, and that was it. But the massive change was the fund started doing a breakdown of this. 30% of their money in July contracts, 15% of their money in August contracts, 15% of their money in September contracts, 15% of their money in October contracts, and 15% of the money in December contracts, with 10% being in June 2021 contracts. This was a massive change. People did not respect this, and when I say people, I mean investors. People that knew a lot just kind of disrespected this. I think it was just because, if something's going bad, which USO had gone so bad, people just want to pile on and attack it, and they don't care if there's been any type of change with it. They just throw it off to the side. And I've just seen it. It's not just like this happens in investments. This happens with anything. When it's going bad, the communities love to just attack it more and more. And even if there's a change there, investors or people in general, they just don't care, and it's a massive mistake, okay? The fact is, the fundamentals of USO changed in a massive way on April 27th, in a massive, massive way. It took it from a scenario where it was all about just that current month and the upcoming month, to now they're spreading their money across the entire year. And they weren't going nearly as heavy on some of these contracts like they were before, where they had to sell all these contracts out rated at the lows or something like that. It was a real ugly situation for USO. So the fact was, the fundamentals change, and honestly, this happens with stocks all the time, okay? USO is not a stock, but I can tell you, being somebody that, 99% of my investments is in what? Stocks, right? So when I buy stocks, there's fundamental changes all the time, and if you brush those off and you don't give respect to those, you are just making a massive, massive mistake, okay? For instance, there's one guy, his name was Steve Jobs, right? He comes out with this iPhone. A lot of people laughed at this thing, okay? But the fact is, the day iPhone came out, and the day that started getting some real sales, which was really like 2008 is when it started getting real sales, although it was shown off in 2007, people should have recognized and respected the fact that the fundamental story in Apple had changed. This was no longer just an iPod and very niche like a computer company anymore. It just wasn't. The fundamentals were changing, and some people brushed those off, they laughed at them, while others recognized, dude, something big has changed here. If other people don't want in it, that's fine. If other people want to laugh at this, fine. If people want to laugh at a $500 phone, laugh at it, okay? The fundamental story in Apple had changed that day, okay? The day the Model 3 came out for Tesla, that was the day the fundamental story had changed for Tesla, in my opinion. That was the day for me where I said, oh my gosh, this is a company that's gonna be a huge company. I didn't invest in it that particular day, but I recognized that I was like, something fundamental has changed there, because this is gonna go from a company that's a very niche automaker to a company that is likely gonna be a threat to every automaker out there in the world. And I just made that change in my head, and I was like, the fundamental story has fundamentally changed here. Okay? And the fact is, you must respect fundamental changes in any asset. And we had a fundamental change in USO, and a lot of people, a lot of investors brushed it off. They didn't respect it. The fact was, the whole way USO is being done changed massively on April 27th. And as long as, oil prices continue to go up, it's going to be a very, very, very good thing for USO, okay? And another huge mistake I see from not just USO, but a lot of assets in general, you must never judge an asset on past price performance. So many people want to look at USO and they pull up a chart, a 3-month chart, a 6-month chart. Look, we're looking at a 6-month chart right now. Look at that, it was above $100 on a split adjusted basis, right? And then it goes all the way down to $16.88 at its lows, and people are looking at that and they're just judging like USO is gonna be down there forever, and USO is done, and it's just USO is crap, and let's just pile on and attack USO and attack USO. And it's like, guys, just because an asset has performed poorly in the past does not mean it will continue to do that. Believe me, I have seen countless stocks over my time in the stock market that were great stocks and then went on to be horrible stocks for ever, or you know, a long time. Let's put it that way, right? Remember, you know, let's talk about, you know, a company like Fitbit, right? Fitbit goes IPO, the stock goes up and up and up, and it's just a hot stock, okay? Fitbit continues to go down and down and down for years to go in the future, and that stock was probably on its way to zero before Google bought them out at, I don't know what Google bought them at, $6 a share or whatever, and the stock used to be $50 plus, right? And on the flip side, I've seen it the other way. For instance, Tesla stock, right? We always talk a lot about Tesla stock on the channel. Look at Tesla stock. I remember hearing from a lot of people, especially when I started investing in this stock, like, I don't know, whether it was probably like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago or something like that, right? People were like, oh, Tesla stock hasn't done anything in years. And they had a point. Tesla stock was basically in a $200 to $350 range for 5 years, okay? 5 years, it was in this range and it just bounced around. Like pull up the stock chart and you'll see that exact thing. And I remember last year it was trading at $180, and people, you know, the short sellers or trolls or whatever, they're like, hi, all you stupid, you know, Tesla shareholders, oh, you guys don't know what you're doing. Tesla stock is lower here today than it was 4.5 years ago or whatever. They would say stuff like that. And it was the truth. It was the truth, okay? They weren't like making it up. But the fact is, you can't judge based upon past performance, because guess what ended up happening to Tesla stock after that? You know, we all know the story there, right? So never make that huge mistake in the stock market or commodities market or whatever you're looking at and just judge something off of what it's done in the past, because it honestly doesn't really tell you much. I'll be completely honest. I don't really, you know, it might be fun to look at a stock chart or what it's done over the past 5 years or 3 years. It doesn't really mean much in the end. You know, I've seen it go either way. I've seen great stocks become crap stocks. I've seen crap stocks become great stocks. I've seen stocks that do nothing, continue to do nothing, or, you know, do great things or do bad things. It's just, you know, you got to judge off fundamentals at the end of the day, okay? What is going on that is so super exciting for USO? So these are the contracts that USO now owns, okay? And this is where the majority of their money is now, okay? They're in July contracts, which are at $22.78. That's what they bought at. The market value of that is over $775 million. That's a majority of their contracts. The next 4 positions are massive for them as well. December 20 contracts, 2908, that makes up $560 million worth of contracts there. August 2020 contracts, that makes up $526 million. That's at a price of $24.63 they bought those at. October 20s, $27.20. They bought $524 million of that one. September 2020, $26.08 they paid for those. That's over $500 million there, okay? June 2021, that's still a big one for them, okay? They bought those ones at $32.21, and that represents about $350 million. And the last big contract they have, that's a lot of money's invested in, is $227 million in July 20 contracts as well, but these are ICE ones, and that's at a price of $22.78. But let's go ahead and put these side by side and let's look at the numbers. This is where things get extraordinary, okay? So on the left-hand side, we have current prices. That's what these contracts are trading at right now, according to the CMEgroup.com, okay? And on the right-hand side, that's what basically USO bought these at, okay, the fund. So $22.78 they paid for the July 20 contracts. July 2020 trading at $26.55 right now. When they go to sell those, they're going to sell for a massive profit likely, okay, as they start to roll those over time. I mean, it's just a lot higher. Never mind if oil continues to go higher and higher. I mean, it's very, very attractive. Let's go ahead and look at the next contracts down for USO, the next biggest position. Their next biggest position is in December of 2020, right? They paid $29.08 for those. Let's go over to, you know, basically what the current price is. $31.67 is the current price there. If we look at August 20, that's their third biggest position. $24.63 they paid for those. August 2020 is trading at $28.15 right now. Like, talk about a ridiculously massive profit, especially when you're talking about how big these numbers are in terms of these contracts, right? October 2020, they bought them at $27.20. Right now, those are trading at $30.17. They're trading over $30 right now, okay? Next biggest contracts down, September 2020, $26.08 is what USO paid. Those are trading right now at $29.32. That's over a $3 profit per contract right now, guys, okay? And then we go ahead and look at the last 2 big contracts. The one is June 2021, $32.21 they paid for those. Those are trading at $34.11 right now, and we'll definitely see some big change in that as we get closer and closer to that date down the road. And then if we go ahead and look at the other July 2020s, once again, $22.78 right now, it's trading at $26.55, so almost a $4 difference there. So, when you just look at those contracts, things are going very, very well for USO. They are big time in the money on these contracts already. Never mind if, oil continues to go up. Now, something else to keep into account, oil's up like 20% today. It is a great day for oil. And although USO does not have any more June contracts, just the fact that the June contracts are moving huge is just moving up the entire market, okay? So this is phenomenal. Now, the next question people are gonna ask is, will oil keep going up? Is this sustainable? Is oil gonna drop back down? How realistic is it for oil to drop back down again? Now, in terms of oil supply right now, obviously there's a ridiculous amount of supply of oil in the market, right? That's why a lot of people are paying through the roof just to store oil right now. That is something we do know, okay? And what we also know is demand is very low right now. Why is this? Because of Rona. That's obviously shut down the economy, and when you shut down most of the economy, right? Guess what's not going to happen? A whole lot of use of oil products, okay? So that's what we know. That's what we know that is going on at the moment. And what we also know is everybody's cutting oil production right now, okay? So basically, let's keep this in mind. This is something very important, right? Oil right now is trading in a range, if you look at all these different contracts, of pretty much $24 to $33. And that's if you even go out like a year from now. Which, for context on that, is insanely low. Like, oil price is usually considered very low if it's in the $40 to $60 range. That's usually considered low oil. Like, this is like, even though oil has come back quite a bit over the past week or so, this is still ridiculously low prices, okay? If you look at any historical standard in recent times, these are still ridiculously low prices. Keep in mind, oil this time of year, you could have probably predicted that, assuming there was going to be no Rona, oil would probably be trading between $90 and $110 for the contracts right now. If Rona literally never happened, $90 to $110 is probably where oil would be right now. Obviously, Rona happened, right? And so that's created this ridiculously low pricing because there's just not that much demand. And then you had all these guys fighting. But here's where things are getting interesting, okay? The Saudis and Middle East in general, right? We know that the Saudis can basically, get oil out of the ground, get it transported, and basically they break even somewhere around $10 a barrel, roughly, right? Middle East in general, more expensive, but still usually like around $20 or under $20. So that's still good for the Middle East. They can at least break even or make a slight profit if oil prices stay in this range of $20 to $30. But the problem is, a lot of those countries' budgets are very dependent upon oil profits, okay? So these type of countries are really making a lot of money when oil goes to $60, $80, $100 plus. That's when the money starts rolling in, okay? And that's when things are very amazing. Russia, you're probably looking at, for them, $30 plus is really what they need for a break even. And then they're making a lot of money if oil goes to $50, $60, $70, $80, $100 a barrel. So what we know is Saudis and Middle East in general, and Russia, OPEC, if you want to call them that, now they're starting to continue to cut production because they just recognize that, man, this is great because it's hurting the U.S. All the U.S. producers, a lot of these guys in the shale plays or whatnot are going to go out of business, and the U.S. oil industry is just going to be hurt massively for quite a while. And when oil prices do come back, if they do come back to $60, $80, $100 a barrel again, which the U.S. producers will all make profits at that, keep in mind it might be very hard to get loans if you want to do oil wells basically in the United States of America, because a lot of banks are going to have massive defaults on all these U.S. producers, or a lot of these U.S. producers that have been drilling out in the shale and whatnot, that have taken out massive debts, massive bank loans, a ton of money from investors, right? A lot of them are going to go under. And so even when oil prices come back, a lot of investors or banks aren't going to want to loan money to the next company, go out and drill in the shales, because they're going to look at it as, no, I don't want to get into that same situation again. And all of a sudden oil prices are 20, 30 bucks, maybe 40 bucks again. You guys go bankrupt and we lose all our money as investors, right? So it's going to get to a real interesting place where these guys are continuing to cut production. Meanwhile, economies are starting back up a little bit, okay? And they'll continue to start back up, which means essentially essentially the use of oil is going to start going up, right? And we could, in very short order, assuming, these guys keep production down for the next, we need a production down for at least 6 to 12 months. If these guys can agree to keep production very low and get through all this supply in the oil market over the next 6 to 12 months, and they don't up production, you could be looking at, oil rates skyrocketing, and all of a sudden, this time next year. I mean, think about this, guys. At this time next year, assuming oil prices double, right? That would still only put oil in a range of what, $48 to $66 at this time next year, and that's assuming these prices double, which oil prices doubling is usually like a big thing. Like, holy smokes, I can't imagine oil prices doubling by next year, right? It would still be incredibly low. Like 48, if oil next summer is in the $48 to $66 range, that is still extremely low. Let's be very clear about that. That's still extremely low if oil prices in the summer are at those prices, guys. So in my opinion, do I know if oil prices are going to go up every day, every week, every month? No. But what I am very confident about is that these prices of $20 to $30 range are not sustainable. And over the course of the next 1 to 2 years, in my opinion, these prices are going to likely go up a ton. Once again, I don't know if it's going to happen every day, every week, every month, but I'm very confident oil prices are not going to be stuck in $20 to $30 range. It just doesn't make sense. These guys will just be happy to continue to cut production and watch those prices rise. Then they'll slowly start bringing up production. Prices will likely still stay high as long as they don't bring it up too much. And, obviously the profits will start to pour in these guys, especially if oil goes back to $60, $80, $100 a barrel, which is very realistic once the economy gets back strong again, which, we'll see when that happens. We don't know if it's going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. But, at some point, things will get back to normal. At some point, massive amounts of oil is going to be used out there in the markets again. And, it'll be a glorious day once again for the oil producers. Meanwhile, the US players will have likely, most of them, gone bankrupt. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, make sure to smash the thumbs up button if you did, and leave me a comment down there on where you think oil prices are going over the next 1 to 2 years. I would love to hear from you guys as always. Thank you for watching and have a great day.